Started off with the broken gimmick
Hmm.
when there was no fans around.
Right.
So what was the challenge coming into AW at that point of time?
Uh, the Broken Matt Hardy character is a very fan-driven character, and it was just very hard for it to work as well as it should have without having fans in the venue. Obviously, the whole world was in the midst of this pandemic, so we changed courses, and then I went to a more reality-based character in Money Matt. And we took a step back from Broken Matt. And who knows? Now the fans are back. Maybe you'll see Broken Matt again down the road.
Oh yes, absolutely, and definitely would love to see Broken Mad with Brother Nero also.
That would be fun. Broken Matt and Brother Nero are tag team made in heaven.
Yes, absolutely. So, as you said, Big Money Matt and the Hardy family office, that's something that, we've seen a lot of young names, new names getting adding in. And so you've given a lot of right superstar or launching pad. So do you see yourself become a producer or an agent down the road in AW?
Yeah, I mean, whenever I finish my in-ring career, which obviously I have a lot less years left than I do behind me, but I would definitely see myself being a producer, or someone involved in the creative process, because at the end of the day, pro wrestling is my passion. I want to wrestle in the ring as long as I can, as long as my body will physically let me, but once that's said and done, I can still be involved and I can still contribute by being a producer, and you're still able to kind of, still live out your passion to some degree.
Absolutely. And like you said, you're still wrestling and you've been wrestling for close to 3 decades now, if I'm not wrong.
That's
Uh,
right. 29 years deep I am right now.
Yeah, so 3 decades, and it's been like a very extreme career, So, what's been the secret to this longevity?
Luck, maybe I'll chalk it up to luck. I guess both my brother and I, we've been very resilient. I feel like, especially so many people that were the, vets at the time whenever we first started wrestling, and the style we wrestled, which is almost like the modern day style today, and especially doing all the ladder matches and tables matches and TLC matches. So many people thought we would be, oh my god, you're not going to be able to, walk by the time you're 40 or whatever it was, because we did so much more than they did back in the day. But it was kind of like also the ushering in of the new style of pro wrestling in many many ways. So I think between just like taking care of ourselves, and just also luck is one of the things. Well, we've both been very lucky, and just trying to be smart with our decision making about really when to take a calculated risk and when not to.
Oh, that's definitely great. Like we've been seeing you wrestle in so many eras, so many versions. It's like truly, even today, it's surreal when we tune into Eurosport and watch you on Dynamite. So speaking of Dynamite, the culture at AEW is way different. We've heard very highly of AEW's backstage culture and how the presentation of every superstar is. So what do you think makes AEW the current go-to place for everyone?
I mean, I think AEW is very special because the mentality that AEW uses, starting from Tony Khan all the way down, is that really just come in, do your job, work hard, be part of the team, and let's make this product as good as possible. They don't really try and force people into like a hierarchy. They don't try and reign by fear. And everyone is allowed to feel comfortable. If you have an issue, you can talk to anyone. Tony Khan is so accessible. If you need to address Tony Khan, then you can speak to him. Where at WWE, it's quite the opposite with Vince. Vince is very hard to be able to speak with, and just Tony, I feel like Tony has the mindset of a current wrestling fan in 2021. So he can kind of make that come alive through his wrestlers and the way he puts together the shows and book shows. So it's just such a comfortable family environment where everyone feels like if you need to speak out, if you need to address something, you can. Everybody's comfortable at AEW, and it really does feel like a very big family.
Definitely, it definitely shows, and every show is exciting to watch. Uh, And like you just spoke about Tony Khan and Vince McMahon, we've heard they're like poles apart personalities. A lot of people have spoken about them, but
Mhm.
you've worked closely with both of them. What are the similarities? Do they even share similarities?
I mean, they're both ridiculously hard workers. There's no doubt about that. I mean, Vince works his ass off. I mean, no one can ever take that away from him. Tony does as well. And then on top of just also running AEW, Tony has so many other responsibilities. He, has stuff to do with the NFL's, Jacksonville Jaguars. He has
Definitely.
Fulham, the football team over in the UK. So he has a lot of stuff going on, but he is just like so passionate about pro wrestling, and you can tell like at his core he's a pro wrestling fan, and I think that translates to helping him be more passionate as a boss or as a booker, and I feel like it allows him to do an even better job, and I feel like he's very thorough, and he also really respects the AEW wrestling fans, and he does everything that he can not to insult their intelligence, and if they're going to invest their time into watching weeks of a story, he's going to make sure to reward them by giving them a good payoff to the story as well.
Definitely. So, yeah, Tony, I think, Tony is there in everything we've heard, you know. But apart from Tony Khan, who do you think is one of the key pillars that keeps the morale high in AEW, I would say?
I mean, I feel like the locker room does in general. I mean, you almost look back at the beginning, like Chris Jericho was with them from day one. And Chris Jericho is one of the greatest of all time. So he's definitely a huge part
Definitely.
of the formation of the greatness that has become All Elite Wrestling. He's kind of almost been like the nucleus right from the jump. And he does a great job. Like Chris, ever since I met him from the very first day, I mean, he's always been the same guy, so he is very good for morale overall, and he's a great locker room leader there.
Awesome. Awesome. So I want to ask you this question. Like, you've been an Impact World Champion, you've been ECW champion. Now, do you vie for the AEW championship?
I would love to win a championship in AEW sooner than later, for sure. As far as being the world champion or being what the company is built around, at this stage of the game for me, I don't know if that's necessarily the best fit. I mean, if there was a story and things fit into the story and it made sense, then yeah, maybe so.
Yeah,
But I don't think it's a necessity. And like really, Matt Hardy is Matt Hardy. And people know who I am. I'm like known around
definitely.
the globe, from my history. So I don't necessarily need a title to make me more popular or make me, more over or whatever it may be, but if the right story fit where it was time for me to win a title in whatever vein, then I could see that happening. But as far as like being the champion, needing to be the champion, I don't need to be. There's a lot of young guys who would be much better served in that position.
All right. So here's an interesting question about the Hardy family office.
Mm-hmm.
So you took the private party to Impact Wrestling, and you've been adding new members coming in all the time. So I want to ask you, do you see the private party invading something like the Super Junior Tag League there?
Do you guys see them win?
Going to Japan in the tag league?
Possibly, yeah. Especially as the Forbidden Door has been open and there's been a bit of a talent exchange between AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. Yeah, I could definitely see them going over there. And Private Party, I'm very proud of their growth. They're two very fine young men, and they've grown so much over the last year that I've worked with them, and I'm very proud of them. And I really think they're going to have an amazing tag team run coming up over the course of the next couple of years because they really are. They have grown so much as a team.
Definitely. So, moving from private party, one team to another team, that is Darby Allin and Sting. That is like an unusual team that we're seeing on AEW Dynamite. So, what are your thoughts on them? And like, do you want to ruffle feathers with them?
I'm a big fan of Sting's AEW run and everything he's done so far. Sting is like just an ultimate legend. He's almost a generation ahead of like myself and Chris Jericho or in Christian and those guys. So for Sting to be able to end his career like on this extremely high note, being used to the best of his ability. I'm just very happy he got that role, because Sting is the best guy ever. He really is the best. You hear that about people all the time. He's just such a great human being and a great guy. So I'm so happy to have Sting in this role he's in currently at AEW. And I think he's helped Darby Allin out so much, and they both help one another out. Darby's youthful enthusiasm helps Sting out as well, and I love them together as a team. And I think it's a lot of fun, and it's something that has a lot of legs underneath it, in my opinion. And I don't know if one day, sometime in the future, the Hardy Boys ever reform in AEW, I would love to do the Hardy Boys versus Darby Allin and Sting.
Oh, definitely. That would be an awesome match to watch. And speaking of Sting, in AEW, we see a lot of legends being treated like legends.
Yes.
Like you've seen Tully Blanchard, you've seen Arn Anderson, you've seen Sting. I recently saw JJ Dillon on one of the shows, so a few weeks back. So I want to ask, do you see more legends coming in the form of Ric Flair or a Hogan or?
I mean, I think there is a place in the industry for legends like that, and I think not only do their fan bases enjoy seeing them, but they can also give so much knowledge to a younger team. It's much like myself working with Private Party, or working with Butcher and Blade to give them tips, to help them improve their game. Someone like an Angelico, someone like Jorah, who's joined me as well. Like there's a lot I can do to help pass down information and knowledge of them, while being associated with them. And same thing goes for like Christian Cage, or you have a Tully Blanchard and Arn Anderson. Those guys are amazing. And I think fans enjoy seeing them there. And it's just like finding the correct role for them and utilizing them in the right way. But the most important thing that I can't put Tony Khan over enough about, I can't speak highly enough about Tony Khan, is he really does put legends in roles that utilize them like legends they are. And that is a great thing, because if you look at our competitor WWE, that doesn't always happen there.
Yes, exactly. So speaking of AEW, and it's definitely made waves since its debut. Now it's close to 2.5, 3 years, and now we are hearing that AEW might go outside the United States and do a show there. So on a personal level, which country, because you've wrestled all over, so which country would you like to have AEW its first show?
I mean, wherever across the world, especially if we have a strong television product there, and the fans are going to be excited and enthusiastic to watch AEW. I mean, I'm down going wherever, and I think that's great that AEW has expanded and grown so much in only 3 years. I mean, it's pretty amazing, their growth over the course of those 3 years.
Definitely. Speaking of growth, I want to ask you, who is that one superstar in AEW that you feel has grown immensely in 2021?
MJF. I mean, he's definitely one of the ones that really stands out. I mean, you look back to like even how they say the pillars of AEW. I mean, the Sammy Guevara growth has been great. Jungle Boy has been great. Darby Allin has been great. And I've worked with all those guys, with the exception of MJF. But I mean, MJF has really been the guy more than anyone that has really grown into like a massive act over the course of the last 12 months.
Definitely. So speaking of MJF, I have to ask you this question. What are your thoughts on this current rivalry between MJF and CM Punk? Because every week there are some shots fired there.
It's been fun to watch. I mean, as watching it as a wrestling fan, I find it very enjoyable, and I think it's a great mix. The young upstart MJF versus the veteran CM Punk, and they're both so great verbally on the microphone. It's so fun to watch those two go back and forth, and it's going to be great when we build up the match that is eventually going to happen one day.
That's awesome. So before, this is my final question to you, and this is our belief here at Essentially Sports, that we write from a fan's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So one match that has blown every fan away, I have to talk about it, is Hangman Page versus Bryan Danielson. So the wrestling fan in you, what would it say about it?
I mean, it was a phenomenal match, and those guys went and they did an hour, which is not easy to do. And not only did they go an hour just in general? I mean, they busted their ass for an hour. I mean, they worked so extremely hard. There was no down points to that match. It was go, 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 go. And they really showed both how great they are. And Bryan Danielson has been awesome. I've loved his whole act since he's been at AEW, and I'm really digging what he's doing. And I'm also, I've known Hangman Page since he first started in pro wrestling. I'm very happy to see him getting this opportunity. He has really done so well for himself.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Matt. And
Thank
happy
you.
holidays.
Happy holidays to you, my friend.
Yes.